The Eliminator that few people would have called at the start of the IPL, but the Mumbai Indians have made it and they play the Lucknow Super Giants in what will be the last game at the Chepauk. We build up to that on Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 timeout. Both these teams finished the campaign strongly. They had to win at least 3 out of 4. They did win 3 out of 4. Mumbai's only loss came to Lucknow. Lucknow's only loss came to Gujarat, and those are the only 3 teams still alive to see who ends up facing the Super Kings in Ahmedabad on the 28th of May. So, Tom Moody and Sanjay Manjrekar are all set and ready, and Rohit Sharma's thoughts and comments at the toss after what we saw yesterday already give us our first talking point, where he says in his typical Rohit Sharma fashion, typical Chennai wicket, we'll bat first.
It is now becoming typical Chennai because until now, until the last 3-4 games, it was a much better Chennai pitch where it wasn't a guarantee that you batted first and you won the game. You know, we had scores of 180, there was also 200, 190 or 200 achieved there. But now as we come into, you know, the late phases, stages of the IPL, summer, the heat and everything, now we are back to the quintessential Chennai pitch. And that's why now we've had so many 200 and above scores. This is back to normalcy and Indian pitches, Indian Premier League.
I'm sure they're not playing at the same surface as yesterday, but I wonder how much yesterday's game would have played on their minds going into this game. Tom, both captains saying they would have batted, but yesterday, Hardik Pandya was saying dew might come in, and you know, the day before the game yesterday there was dew. Yesterday there was no dew. What if there is dew? What do you make of what we've heard so far?
I think you've got to control the controllables at the end of the day. If you got dew one day and not the next, it's out of your control. And I think clearly Rohit Sharma feels that this wicket's going to deteriorate. It is not the same wicket as they played on yesterday. Yesterday, I believe, was pitch 5. This one's pitch 3. So it's 2 across. Therefore, we've got a shorter boundary on one side, only a 61 or 62 metre boundary, which the captains will have to navigate with regards to various bowlers at certain ends against the left-right hand combination. So that'll be intriguing as the game unfolds. But yeah, it's going to be certainly a surface that Mumbai aren't used to playing on, given their home ground, which is just boasts scores of over 200, and they can walk out to bat with their chest pumped out, thinking, right, who's going for 6 next.
I'll say this, the match finished late last night. Just imagine the groundsman there. He has to get this pitch ready, right? It's right next to the pitch, so there's night time. He can't water it too much because just in case the sun doesn't come out, overcast conditions, the last thing the groundsman wants is a damp pitch. So when I look, when I sort of read what's going on through their mind as they speak, I think they are pretty sure both captains wanted to bat first. So this pitch actually might have a little more for the spinners, and we haven't yet seen a pitch that has crumbled away. This might be the one closest to it because both captains were absolutely certain about batting first. In the last game, it was like a good toss to lose. This time they were keen to bat first.
Yeah, and it is a shift from what has worked for Mumbai in the league stage. In fact, both these teams, if we just try and make sense of how they've fared in the tournament already, batting first and batting second, I don't know how much you can read into it, but let's try and comfortably break down this graphic for you. Lucknow, for instance, batting first, their win-loss ratio is 5-1, so they don't mind batting first. Mumbai is 2-3. You look at the batting first league rank, and Lucknow right up there. So they're doing something they are uncomfortable doing. Mumbai are, to some degree, also doing something they're a little uncomfortable doing. Now, you know the strength of this Mumbai batting, Tom, and you know the conditions over here. What sort of chat are you having with your batters here? I'm guessing it's a short one, or is it a detailed one, because you can't be going at 4th or 5th gear here in the threat of getting a below par score?
Well, it certainly wouldn't be a detailed one. I think it's the last thing in a tournament, as long as the IPL, you need detailed long meetings with batting groups or bowling groups or the team in general. It'll be very short and precise, and more than likely it'll be done on an individual basis. And again, it'll be just a discussion around the awareness if we are faced with a surface that is slow and turning. You know, what are your options? What are you thinking? You know, if Colonel Pandya is going to come on earlier, Sanjay, what are you thinking about your scoring options? How are you getting off strike through the offside? How are you getting off strike through the leg side? Do you feel comfortable with your sweep shot? Are you going to use your feet? Just general cricket conversations, and allow the player to come back to you with, you know, those answers. Yeah, look, I feel really comfortable with the way I'm sweeping, and I've done that pretty successfully against him before. I actually might bat on off stump against him, against sort of my usual guard at middle and leg stump, because I feel that then I can take my front pad out of the line of off stump. All those cricketing conversations will happen.
I find this very interesting. What if we do a little simulation here, where you could be Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan, the Mumbai batters, you're the head coach, and we know the bowlers that are going to come in. There's a Krunal Pandya threat with the new ball on what's a dry surface. You know how these seamers bowl, your Naveen ul Haq and your Yash Thakur. So give me a bit of a simulation. No, I'm very serious. I'm quite keen. You will play your part.
What, do you want me to get up and be an Ishan Kishan? And
think like them, since you've been at the ground and you have so much insight.
I think the key to what the point I'm making is, to me, it's allowing the player to take ownership. These guys are world-class players, so it's a case of respecting that, but just teasing them into thinking beyond what they may have not thought of with regards to, if this situation arises, how are you going to deal with it? Not sort of find that, you know, they're stuck at the crease, they lose the wicket, they walk off the field and think, oh, if only. So you're preempting all that.
Yeah, I think the tricky bit when you're batting first. Now you have assessed the pitch, you think it's not going to be a 200 pitch, and might be a 160. I get the feeling they think it's going to be a low-scoring match. That's why it's the keenness to bat first, because there's so much going for you if you're chasing. But they both wanted to bat first, so that is their assessment. But what if they start batting and realize, this pitch is not so bad? And that's happened once before at, I think, Delhi, where we thought, this is going to be a really tough pitch, and we saw some batters really playing superbly. So that is something that will happen during the course of the match. Now, Krunal Pandya has bowled a lot in Lucknow in the first few overs. Now, today, it's going to be tough for him because there's going to be a left-hand, right-hand combination to begin with. Plus, I'm hearing from the captain that there's going to be one long boundary, one short boundary. So all those, factors will come into play. I just think batting first and assessing as the match goes on, because even captains, even current players who played on a lot of different surfaces can get the surface wrong. It's only when you start seeing how it behaves. Like yesterday, that Jadeja ball, who expected that to happen on that pitch at that stage?
I guess if you have to take a lot from yesterday, that's perhaps another chat. How much would they be influenced by yesterday's game? Someone has to play the Ruturaj Gaikwad innings. So who is most equipped to do that? Rohit Sharma seems to have had some sort of turnaround last few games. Is he the key on what could be the most experienced batter in that lineup deciding how to bat early on and set the tone?
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see his approach, because what we've seen is Rohit Sharma sort of in turbo charge mode. And he's been successful recently with that approach, but he's also been unsuccessful in the early parts of the season with that sort of positive approach and taking on the power play. He probably is the best equipped and the most experienced to be able to play that more anchor type role. And I don't like using that, but this particular surface may well dictate that person, or that role I should say, is important, where you get someone that gets 50 or 60 and it might only be a strike rate of 130 or 125, and that may well be the foundation of a winning total. He certainly plays spin very, very well. He's got a huge amount of experience playing all around India on all sorts of different surfaces. But again, I agree with Sanjay in that don't preempt. We might find that this looks terrible, but plays completely differently, and that they're blazing away as they have done all year.
And you make an excellent point about Rohit Sharma. You might think Ishan Kishan is the guy who has to go after the bowling, or Rohit Sharma the way he's played so far. So the best thing to do, which is why MS Dhoni has a 1 minute pre-match meeting talking to his boys, go out there, have a look at the first over, and you'll quickly get an idea how this pitch is going to behave. I don't think there should be a plan that this is going to be a low-scoring match, so first 6 overs, let's try and get maximum. That's why the advantage of batting second, where you know exactly how the surface is. So let's wait and see. Take every over as it comes, and then the plans have to evolve.
Okay, Mumbai Indians have made a subtle change to their team. Let's have a look at it. And given this is the batting first 11, it may or may not surprise our panel that Nehal Vadera is not part of the batting first 11. They are obviously banking on the form of Rohit and Ishan Kishan, now Cameron Green too, Surya and Tilak Verma is back. An excellent innings here in the league game at the Chepauk. Tim David, of course. And then perhaps entertaining a 3-man spin attack in the form of Ritik Shaukin, who's back, Piyush Chawla and Karthikeya Kumar's second innings. Normally, the impact sub is brought on second innings, but Vadera, with the batting form that he's shown, Vishnu Vinod is there as well, but you think Vadera's ahead of him in the line, is not part of their batting first 11. Tom?
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't surprise me that Tilak Varma is back into the side. You know, he is obviously recovered from his back or side injury, and he's earned the right to be in that team. He's played some magnificent knocks for Mumbai last season and the first half of this season. Vadera could consider himself unlucky, but you know, at the end of the day, that's the nature of the beast. Is that you know, once the premium player or the player that's done it for longer is fit, he should have right of entry.
Maybe you can join me in just assessing the team and now the starting 11. Mumbai Indians batting first. When I look at batting first, I'm not able to see that extra batter. They've got their bowling intact. I mean, you've got Chris Jordan there, you've got Madhul Behrendorff, you've got your 3 seamers, you've got your 2 spinners. So their bowling seems okay, and Cameron Green as a 6 bowling option.
Yeah.
So this might be one of those matches where they might look at a batting sub, because Vishnu Vinod is an exciting young player who might come in, nail Vadera while they are batting, because their bowling looks pretty intact. I don't think there's any exciting option there at the bottom when you look at bowling. Karthikeya against a team like Lucknow Super Giants, with the amount of left-handed they have, is not a great option.
Well, if they wanted a batting sub, they would have just named him in the batting 11.
I don't know. If they want to keep their options open, I guess.
That's where I'm coming from, where if they say we want 3 spinners, like it turned out yesterday, where you had Jadeja, Theekshana, those are the only 2. They didn't use Moeen Ali as much yesterday. No. So,
and Karthikeya, there's a slim chance he'll come in, because you have a very short boundary and the left-hand, right-hand combination
in
is
which
going
case,
to be
what is their likely impact sub? Are you going to, does it look like they've gone and wanting to play 3 spinners?
I can see why Shocking is come in, because of all the left-handers that Lucknow have got. That makes sense. So that change for Karthikeya is the correct decision. I'm a little bit baffled now you pointed out this is their batting 11, why they haven't named another batter.
Yeah, the more I'm looking at
which gives them the flexibility to, once they then bowl, is remove that specialist batter and then put a specialist bowler in. And if it's turning, well, we want another spinner in our lineup, or we want another pace bowler.
Because the batting there, I mean, looks very thin depth-wise. You've got, I think, Chris Jordan at number 7.
7, yep.
Yeah, so I have no doubt, the more I look at it, that this could be a case of having a batting sub in reserve while they're batting.
Yeah, and then they don't mind not using Karthikeya.
Yeah.
I guess they're also a little confident, shall we call it, of their batting with what they've seen. If they can manage to get past this innings with just 4 or 5 wickets down, or 3 or 4 wickets down, then they've left themselves with more options, as against naming and committing to Vadera in the 11 and then having a specialist bowler on the bench, which would have to reduce your options on how you play.
I would have thought the other way around would be the better way to approach it on a surface you know that more than likely is going to be a sub 150. You're better off having, if you're batting first, you're better off having 7 batters.
Yep.
This is what we're looking like. The previous 2 games that have been played on this surface this year have been all sub 150. I can't see this being any different. If it is, well, okay, we've made a slight error of judgment, but you know, everything's pointing towards this as being a batting struggle.
Fair enough. All right, and there is a left-hand option there in Vadera as well that we point out. Good chance, like Sanjay Manjrekar says, that they will see him brought in the first innings itself, given they have their bowling options covered in that batting first 11 as well. Let's have a look at the Lucknow team and see if there are any interesting changes. Deepak Hooda returns. It's an interesting way to deal with him, but Karan Sharma just gets that one-off game, the last league game at the Eden Gardens, and Hooda's back. Where he'll bat is anyone's guess. We'll come to that in just a second. Do I not see Quinton de Kock on that list?
Yeah, I saw him earlier in the subs on the World Feed coverage, so there might be Quinton de Kock as a batting sub.
Well, all right, let me just spend a little more time on that, because this is very interesting. We unfortunately didn't hear much from Krunal Pandya about team selection, but there are 3 overseas. Mayers and Sam seem to be on the bench, and yes, indeed, it looks like that they are going into this game without Quinton de Kock.
I'm quite
Wow.
sure.
Well, he must be injured or ill.
Wow, that is a big one. So let's get straight into that. I think I can confirm this, and I'm just going to have a look at the official team sheets, which I do get access to. Given the business that we're in, we get that sort of information.
Well, I'm looking on the Cricinfo app, and Quinton de Kock is not in the...
So let's go with that then. Tom Moody, no Quinton de Kock.
Yeah. Oh, look, it has to be he is ill or injured. Simple as that. There's no sense in him not being in that playing 11.
So Kyle Mayers
comes in.
Wow, how big a miss is that on this surface? And I'm also trying to think of who's going to keep. Let's just bring that up again.
Yeah, it'll be Nicholas Pooran.
Quick look, so Nicholas Pooran will likely take the gloves then.
Yeah, so that's the keeping thing's not a major issue, but just the experience and the quality of Quinton de Kock is a massive miss.
And this is where you see if there's a tacky pitch. Lucknow, although have played a lot of matches on tacky pitches back home, and that's why their home record wasn't great. I mean, look at their batting lineup; they depend so heavily on people like Stoinis, Pooran, and there's Quinton de Kock missing. And these are guys, Pooran and Stoinis, who wouldn't like a tacky pitch. And the Indian element in that batting lineup, Deepak Hooda is woefully out of form. Krunal Pandya has contributed. So clearly you can see that their batting is a little bit of a worry if the pitch is going to be one of those, non-belter.
Yeah. The other one that we quietly have just forgotten about is Amit Mishra not being part of the setup for the last two games. He was dropped for the game against Mumbai, didn't feature in the last two league games for a player who's actually had a pretty impressive comeback and has a good record against Rohit Sharma, among other things. On this surface, are you surprised that Amit Mishra, who not only against Rohit but also against Kishan seems to have a pretty good record, is not part of their bowling first 11? He's on the impact subs bench, but it looks unlikely that he'll be brought in unless we're in for a surprise. Tom?
Yeah, I am surprised that he's not there. And again, I think, I'd love to hear the conversations around this with the various franchise, this whole impact sub and how they're thinking. Because to me, you'd rather have that as an option. But then again, they might be thinking, we don't want Mishra on the field because he's not going to bowl. He's not going to bowl in the first, say, 6 to 7, maybe 8 overs. We'll bring him on as an impact player then because, he's not the best fielder, so we're best just bring him on when we need him to bowl.
But that takes care of it with Kyle Mayers' absence now, because that now surely is the impact sub.
Yep.
I think they don't need Amit Mishra. They've got...
You don't think?
Yeah, they've got 3 spinners. Gautam has had a good season as an off spinner. And then there's Bishnoi and Krunal Pandya has bowled his 4 offs.
And Hooda.
And Hooda, I doubt whether he'll bowl in a match like this. But the thing is, if it's a turner, let's assume it's a turner because both captains were keen to bat first. Then the spinners that really work on turners are the Jadeja kinds. Quick finger spinners, and that's where Krunal Pandya will be a difficult bowler. Gautam will be very good on a pitch like this. That's where the flighted leg spinners, people like Amit Mishra, are a bit of a gamble. Kuldeep Yadav, for example, gamble on a turning pitch with small boundaries, like it was at Delhi, where he got hit for 3 consecutive sixes. So I don't think Amit Mishra will feature. And they've
but you're okay, and you understand his exclusion, because some of us were wondering why. Because
if there's so much available from the pitch, why look for somebody who's got guile and skills? Just somebody who will bowl quick. Krishnappa Gautam is tall. Krunal Pandya as well. Keep it simple. The pitch will do the rest.
Whenever you turn to Tom, I feel like you're almost looking for him to say yes as well. Let me see if he says yes to that.
I'm always looking to convince people. The whole idea is to...
You've convinced me. You have convinced me, but only just.
Yeah, but whenever I'm looking in this direction, there's always a look of condescending.
No, I would like to represent the fans. That's whatever they feel and ask, I need to feel and ask.
So basically, fans are condescending.
All right. I'm going to give you a simulation. You didn't play my last one, but I want you to play this one.
With simulation.
Today, I don't know why I'm in this mood, but
maybe you could do your simulation. Actually,
don't
do an Ishan Kishan for us.
No, I want to do Suryakumar Yadav instead.
Oh God.
Raising it higher. Because how he got out in the Lucknow game seems like that is, it's a story in itself. He goes on one leg in the peak of his form, and Yash Thakur gives him no pace, and he plays one onto his stumps. Let's assume there's absolutely no pace for him today. Looking at that bowling lineup, Naveen Ulak, Yash Thakur, no one's going to give him any pace. How do you expect Suryakumar Yadav to bat today, given he likes the pace on some of those freak shots we've seen, because there's pace?
Because he's batting first, and I hope they come to an understanding what the target is. But there will be an attempt to get as many runs as possible. So that makes his job a little more difficult. If Suryakumar Yadav was chasing down 155, he's a good enough player to pace his innings accordingly and make sure his team is in a great position to get there. So I expect him to understand that this pitch may not give him as much pace and play accordingly, because this is the guy who is redefining T20 batting. He has actually become this campaigner of playing T20 cricket off the back foot. He goes right back and then is looking for all these shots using the pace of the bowler.
Yeah.
And a wonderful team in Star Sports, ESPNcricinfo analysts, they came up with a great delivery, and they actually have evidence of, if you take pace off the Surya Kumar Yadav of short of length balls, then you can control him. And what does Surya Kumar Yadav do? Sits on the back foot and he's looking for pace to play these kind of shots. And if you bowl slow right here, he has the ability to hit straight sixes. But if you bowl short of length and slow, very slow, the Mohit Sharma kind of slow delivery, you can maybe control. So finally, there is maybe a small solution to control Surya Kumar Yadav, but we'll wait and see whether that happens.
Yeah, I think on a surface like this, players like Surya, who like to play 360, he needs to nearly take away a portion of that pie. And that's the pie that he likes, which is behind him. And on a slower surface, it's very hard, whether you're playing pace or spin, is hit the ball behind you, whether you're running it to third man off pace or playing a conventional leg glance or, you know, one of these modern day scoops. So I would hope and encourage him to be playing and looking to play a lot squarer and looking to hit the ball squarer into gaps and trying to force the ball more in that direction than sort of thinking that he can still do it what he has done at the one caddy behind. You know, that's great if the surface and conditions allow, but I agree with Sanjay. If you're bowling into the surface between knee and hip against him, that's your best way of slowing him down.
I loved how you put it. Take a section of the pie away and just focus. Good way to put it.
Thank you. Appreciate
Raunak, this is about the batting pie, not about the pies that you like to consume the whole one, no matter what.
Or the Marathi leg. Thank God we have Tom to talk sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
on a very serious note, is it something that is still a strong part of his game? The wristy player that he is, when there is pace, yeah, but if he has to take that part of the pie away, take that portion behind away and play like that, is it something that will come easy to him?
He can do it, but because he's so committed to this game, and I want to see that side, because Surya Kumar Yadav is not a one-trick pony, and that's why I wish Mumbai Indians was chasing. Because if you tell him that today I want you to bat at a strike rate of 125, 130, he can do it. It's not like he'll suddenly struggle. But this is a guy who's played a lot of first-class cricket and everything, so he's not just a T20 compulsive dasher.
Yeah, but I don't think batting is like driving on roads where you've got speed limits and they change, wherever you are. If you're in an open freeway, you can go 100, but if you're, driving through a suburban area, you've got to bring it back to 45. I don't think batting is like that. I think with someone like Surya, he's clever enough and good enough to be able to not be given the instruction, well, today you've got to only drive at 60 kilometres an hour. You drive it how you feel, because he might go out there and actually, get away to a bit of a flyer due to some poor bowling and his presence, because he's one of those players that has presence at the crease. Exactly. So the tension and pressures on the bowling side, they're thinking, oh, this wicket's a big one, this one's a big one, drag down ball, crunch forward, drag down ball, crunch forward, over pitch, down the ground forward, and suddenly he's ticking over at, a strike rate of 200.
Yeah, I mean, A.B. de Villiers often used to transcend conditions.
100%.
It looked hard for everyone else.
He was a nightmare. Yeah. It was a nightmare to bowl to.
Very well. They started well. Have the Mumbai Indians with the boundary of Krunal Pandya's first ball. He's taken the new ball. So Sanjay Manjrekar likes to look at one ball and give us his first
Krunal
innings prediction.
Pandya will have his work cut out. All his good spells have come against teams that have had right-handers one after the other. Ishan Kishan just smacked him for 4. It's not going to be that easy.
Give me a first innings score, Sanjay.
Because I'm going to go, even if the pitch is really difficult to bat, I'm going to go with 184.
184. Moody.
151. Oof. I like to keep a bit of distance.
No trust in Mumbai in batting.
No, I'm just reading the conditions.
I'm going to split the two of you and go 165. very much.
In the final edit, we'll edit this out.
This is live. Thank you.
Oh, this is live.
If I could edit, it wouldn't be that I edited out. Yeah. Sanjay Manjrekar, Tom Moody, thank you very much. Fascinating conversation. We wait to see how Surya Kumar Yadav goes on this surface. Both Sanjay and Tom on our recorded preview to this game did say Mumbai are favourites. They are batting first. It worked for Chennai. Let's see if it works for MI. Join us for Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 timer at the end of the Mumbai innings, and download the mobile app. It will have you covered with ball-by-ball action and plenty of fine videos and pieces from yesterday's game too. You should enjoy those. So we'll see you at the end of the first 20 overs of the Eliminator.